It's not exactly a secret that I like Ninja Gaiden. It's been part of the channel's branding for ages, and I've always loved that game a lot. But for as much as I love that series in general, it's kind of surprising I never actually realized that there were clones out there. Now what I mean is there are games on the NES, I'm mainly focusing on NES here, that just straight up copied Ninja Gaiden, which is fair since Ninja Gaiden kind of stole a lot from Castlevania. But a lot of things they did at the time that stood out for me in Ninja Gaiden end up in a bunch of other games, specifically like the gameplay and the cutscenes. The cutscene story theater was always like one of the coolest things about Ninja Gaiden that kind of drew me into it. And seeing that in other games that I never really knew about until like at least a decade after I got into Ninja Gaiden was kind of crazy. Especially for games that were maybe like a year or two apart from the original Ninja Gaiden. Out of all the ones that are on the NES and all the ones that I played, the only one that really stuck with me as much as Ninja Gaiden did is this game, Vice Project Doom. Released in 1991 by Sammy Corporation, it really is just Ninja Gaiden, but like sci-fi and futuristic, which I'm a sucker for sci-fi. This game tries to go for a Blade Runner look, and they kind of hit it pretty well. But when you have lines such as, "It's raining," you tend to wonder a lot about it. Here, let's get into everything here. There we go. Let's kick it off. First and foremost, here is our main character, Quinn Hart, a member of the Vice unit, dealing with illegal drugs and, I guess, maniacs on the road. Which means we're sitting in our car. Now, normally, since this is a Ninja Gaiden clone, you would expect that it's going to be an action stage. But the one cool thing that Vice does is that it's not just platforming Ninja Gaiden style stages. It actually has 3 different game modes you have to deal with. First and foremost, it's this Spy Hunter style action stage with your car where you just literally shoot everything. Just find meat in the middle of the road and the letter B and G and just murder everything. You're a cop, who cares? That was way more deep than I meant that to sound, sorry. But since you're a future cop, the important thing is you have to stop the bad guys by murdering everything else on the road. As long as no one else can cause any crimes, everything is fine. You have 3 different speeds you can pick here by pressing the A button. They basically control your movement left and right and up and down. 2 is the speed I find the best, and here we go, here's our boss. This is the maniac on the loose, because he was literally firing bullets out of a cannon. I can see why you would try to stop that. Piece of cake. And now, back to the story. By which I mean we have to say our one-liner. Oh well, should have surrendered while he had the chance. Fucking cold-blooded, Quinn, goddamn! And I hope you really like this face. They zoom in to do the thinking face a lot. Speaking of faces, I need to talk about this. This is very important to me. The box art. I'm literally holding the box in my hand for the NES one right now. In the actual Japanese game, it's Bruce Willis on the cover. I don't know why. I think they just wanted to show it was a cool action dude. So they basically stole Bruce Willis's likeness. Now, apparently for the American release, they tried to mimic Mel Gibson, but honestly, he just really looks like the father from Growing Pains, and I know I'm dating myself with that reference, referencing like Alan Thicke, but it really fucking looks like him. And just thinking of like this badass who just blew up a dude is just a sitcom dad, kind of just takes away all the seriousness of this game, but also kind of makes it way better. Anyway, since we're actually into the thick of things, you know why I groaned. Let's talk about the actual gameplay. Our character, Hart, has 3 different weapons for attacking. We've got a plasma whip, which basically works like your Ninja Gaiden sword. It's surprisingly fast, but the weird thing about it is that its biggest hitbox is above you, and also the fastest. You actually do faster attacks behind than in front and above, because it takes a bit for the animation to actually hit the back. The other 2 weapons we have are a gun, which takes up bullet ammo there, and grenades. So we have a short-range weapon, a medium-range weapon, and a long-range weapon. Balancing all 3 is the important thing. However, there is a catch to the game, as every time you die, your ammo gets reset. Not to 0, thankfully. You do start with some ammo for your guns and your grenades, but you definitely have to just start worrying about getting it back picked up. It's not that hard to get, though. As you can see, enemies drop a lot of stuff. All drops are pretty much predetermined, so it's not hard to actually get anything back. Like, this enemy here will always drop a giant meat stick. However, since we stabbed him to death with our plasma whip, we don't get to see it. Sorry if you were disappointed you didn't get to see a meat stick. Don't read into that. That guy will obviously have bullets, and this will always lead to the first boss. Which, honestly, he seems a lot rougher at first because he just throws a bunch of stuff at you. However, considering you can run on top of it, or if he throws high, just run under it, he's kind of a piece of cake. Let's just jump to the other side, and then since he only had, I guess, 4 girders, he has to throw them back at you to the other side. Take him out, piece of cake. And now for thinking. What's going on around here? Christy! Which is the girl that we saw earlier, who was riding in a car with us. However, it's Sophia instead. Just get used to them alternating back and forth. While I like that they kind of went the Ninja Gaiden style and did the cutscenes, the one thing they did bad is the story. The story's kind of garbage. And it ends up, it's both sort of and not sort of the translation's fault. Because a lot of things are actually the same in the Japanese version and the North American version. Now, we are definitely fighting Kimron, and the original game says that he is a wizard. Literally just calls him a wizard. This game says he practices dark arts, so that, believe it or not, is actually supposed to be in the game. That's not a weird, like, localization thing. That's pretty spot on. But there's a bunch of things later on which don't quite make sense. Now, there's the official translation for the game is obviously this version we're playing here, but the original game Gun Deck got a fan translation a couple years ago to just see how big the differences were. And honestly, the answers kind of were like yes and no at the same time. It was surprising, I played through it the other day, it was surprising how faithful it was while at the same time having very vast differences. We'll cover the differences at the end of the game. Because I'm gonna be real with you, I love this game, and I love Ninja Gaiden, but this is way easier than Ninja Gaiden. So if you really want a Ninja Gaiden game to get into, Vice Project Doom is probably my recommendation. And honestly, it's way easier to get into now because for the first time ever, it got a re-release on, of all things, the Nintendo Switch eShop. So if you've got a Nintendo Online account, as of like the end of August, it got added there. And it's the first re-release the game has gotten, period. So it's, honestly, now is a better time than any time to play along and try the game. It's really good, and like I said, not that hard. Because while there are some problematic areas in the game, there's unlimited continues. And the checkpoint system is a lot more forgiving than any Ninja Gaiden game. However, there's a catch. Some of the bosses are kind of ridiculous. This guy, my first time playing through the game, this is Kimron, was insanely difficult to deal with. And then I figured out he's actually way stupid easy. This is the thing. All the bosses in this game seem very difficult, but they have one really easy exploit. Every single boss. It's insane. Alright, guess what I came across? That rogue driver's gun turned out to be military issue, army top secret. Oh, and guess what the boys in forensics found? Now remember, Quinn is a Vice unit, so he's been trying to deal with the stuff, which is drugs, although that's been more or less glazed over this entire time. And there's a nice sprite flip, it's beautiful. Change that hair part, no one's gonna notice any issues with that. The dirt's found on his clothes is native to South Central America. South Central America? Let me think about it. Well, there's been some new, oh, this is another part of the news trouble coming out of this town called Ricardo. Might be worth checking out. Well, I guess I know we're in the big city of somewhere. But I guess let's take a vacation. Even though it's a little early in the season, I guess my vacation's going to be spent in Ricardo. Now, you would assume, in any other game, you're already in Ricardo. Not in Vice Project Doom, baby! What you do instead is you have to fight your way to the airport. Yes, I am serious. This is the airport. We are not in Ricardo yet, we're still in the city. There are people guarding the airport for some reason. I don't know why. This is not the TSA. They're just really angry at Hart, probably because he's trying to stop drugs. And I guess that seems like a good reason to shoot a man. Or send a lot of dogs after him. Or ninjas. Dogs and ninjas. You know. Sci-fi. Either way, I feel bad that I'm just murdering countless dogs, but I also don't know where these bad guys are getting all these dogs in the first place. Meat on a stick. I just want to go to the airport. And of course, since we're at the airport, we gotta scream out, come on boys, let's party! And now it's the third gameplay type, a shooting gallery. We just have an army of people sent at us, and we need to just use our bullets and our grenades to shoot everything up. If you've ever played Operation Wolf on the NES or in arcades, it's pretty much just this. Hover your cursor over items to pick them up, and watch your ammo count. Because your ammo count from the actual 2D stages actually is what you carry into this stage. And if you run out, they will give you slowly other bullets to use, but you're otherwise in trouble. You don't really need to worry too much though, since it's really generous, honestly. Like, they give you so much health, they give you so many weapons. Like, I had to, on purpose, try to waste all my ammo. Like, we're already done the stage. It's pretty simple. And this is how you know that was the airport, because we're sitting on a goddamn plane. Reminds me of my mercenary days. That line is never dealt with. Ever. And I thought, oh, maybe that's a mistranslation. Maybe that's just something they left out of the North American version. Nope. It is the exact same, or pretty damn close, in the Japanese version. They just mentioned that he was a mercenary once, and that was it. Like I said, the writing, not the best. But it, honestly, as a Ninja Gaiden fan, Ninja Gaiden's isn't the best either, so I'm willing to admit that. It's got that right amount of stupid. It's enough to interest you in the game. But then once you start actually picking the flaws apart, you're like, God, why am I into this game? And then you remember, oh, it's the gameplay, stupid. And then you just kind of move on. I realized one thing we actually have not even dealt with even remotely is the coin counter. We've been collecting coins the entire time. It's exactly what you think it is. Get 100 coins, you get a 1-up. However, there is one good catch about this game. Since it has unlimited continues, it's not usually that important to get extra lives. And like I said, the checkpoints are pretty plentiful as well. But one thing this game does that most games don't is that when you die, or sorry, when you get a game over and continue, your coin counter also stays the same. So you don't actually lose your progress on getting an extra 1-up. And because that doesn't normally seem that important, but there are some checkpoints where there are some cases where if you get a game over, you go back to an earlier checkpoint. So actually having a setup where that doesn't happen and you just go to the normal lost a life checkpoint is really handy. Especially for the last stage. The last stage is definitely where I'd say that's the most important. Now, as much as I like this game, I'm not the best at it, so I am going to die a bunch, and I am definitely going to be using a continue or two. If this is a continuous run, I would be very impressed with myself. But we will see, because as much as I like this game, it did take inspiration from Ninja Gaiden in the sense that there are so many bullshit enemies on jumps. You need to just realize after a certain point, every goddamn jump in this game is trying to kill you. I think it's actually this stage onwards where they just start doing that and being super rude, so. Yep, it begins, all right. The fish are the early ways to do it, but as you saw earlier, those red ninjas that show up later on, or showed up earlier in this stage rather, they become the regular enemies later on. There's my first death. Get ready for a lot of that, because the later end of this game definitely does not play fair. Now, as you saw, since we died, we're right back here in the same screen. If we had to continue, we would be continuing at the beginning of 5-2. Health back. There we go. So that's the one thing the game doesn't take away from you. It doesn't put you back to 5-1. If you've cleared an area, it's considered cleared. But bosses are usually considered a different number. So like the boss would be 5-3 in this case, or I think 5-4 because I think there's another area after this. However, even if you die on a boss, you go back to the room before the boss because they want to give you a chance to build up extra ammo. That's the one thing they do nice about it. Every time you die, you have your ammo is cut down real short. And it almost happened again. Whew. My grenades are back down to 5, and my bullets are up to 50 right now. That's mainly because I'm on a murder spree. I think 30 and 5 are the actual starting numbers. Or it might be 20 and 5, either way. Confirm that on screen. But you can get them up very fast, because you get 5 grenades per grenade pickup, and you get 10 bullets per bullet pickup. Although, to be fair, I honestly find it just way easier to use the laser whip. I don't know if it's because I'm just so used to Ninja Gaiden, and this just is Ninja Gaiden. Minus special features like the ability to run when you're ducking, which is probably the most helpful thing they put in this damn game. I actually really like that feature and wish Ninja Gaiden had it. It's just a case that at the end of the day, it just plays like Ninja Gaiden in the long run. I usually just save the ammo for bosses. But then there's bosses like this, where the best weapon is the laser whip. Like, you literally don't even really need to worry about taking hits. Like, you can DPS race this boss. As long as you realize the whip's hitbox is above you, it's fine. See? We would have been in trouble if we'd taken one more shot, but piece of cake. What? What the? An El Grande welcoming party feels almost like home. Oh, Quinn, you're so wacky. Not bad at all. It's amazing what they can do with brick these days. That's not brick. That's not brick at all. It's not brick. Why did you think it's brick? And now here comes the point where those red enemies become standards. Their jump pattern is very frustrating, they're very quick, and the real problem is that their weapon shots are so close together, they're honestly really hard to dodge. More often than not, you're gonna actually find yourself either jumping over them by like pausing backwards, or, in the case of the final stage, just taking the hit. It's way easier to take the damage sometimes. Now we're seeing cases where I'm actually gonna need to start using the other weapons for once in the normal stage. Because now the enemies are actually trying to space things out. Although half them you can just ignore anyways. And then there's little assholes like that one, where you have to react immediately or you get sent back down in the pit. There are beginner traps in this game, but again, this is a Ninja Gaiden-like, so it's not that surprising. Don't be surprised if you die a couple times literally because the game's like, yeah, how come you didn't know I was here, asshole? How come you couldn't figure it out with your big boy brain? I'm cutting this a little close now. Uh-oh, hang on. Get out of here. Grenades are honestly your best weapon, hands down. They will do multiple hits as well if they've done contact damage. However, you can throw one at a time only, and it takes a while for them to actually let you throw another one because you have to wait for the explosion to go away, not just the sprite itself. The one good thing about the game, though, consistently, there will be an enemy at the end, right before a boss, that will give you a full heal. Not a full heal, or a big heal. If you know the bosses as very well, you don't really need to worry too much. However, I forgot we're not at a boss. Good. I literally thought we were going right to a boss. Sometimes I forget how big some of these stages are. I think the thing about this game I appreciate the most, and this is definitely very against the vein of Ninja Gaiden and why I think it's so much easier than a Ninja Gaiden, and you've probably noticed it too from watching me play this, they give you health so much. Like, so often they're just like, okay, yeah, now you can heal up now. Like, not even just like the meat stick right before a boss. Like, literally, you'll just fight an enemy and he'll be like, yeah, here you go, just have like a bottle of 2 or 3 hit points. Case in point, we're gonna get that big heal now. And we're still not even quite done the room. This is gonna be the room right before the boss, for real this time. And even here, they give you a grenade recharge, they give you a gun recharge, and even another tiny ball of health. But items disappear very fast in this game. You've got to move. I actually missed that, I think. I didn't hear the chime. But let's do it. Let's deal with one more boss and a bagel. Bagel is here. Hi, buddy. Buddy, I'm trying to stab a robot. Please don't ruin my robot stabbing. This guy, as long as you're attacking fast and above your head, you'll be perfectly fine. And this is the point where like the laser whip arc kind of really shines. You don't even need to worry about it. As long as you're attacking, the hitbox above your head will keep you perfectly safe. Ducking obviously works good with this guy as well because it gives you a tiny bit more time to react. And just end it with a grenade. Boom. Didn't even have to look at him. Piece of cake. Now, at the beginning of the game, it's never mentioned in the game. It's only mentioned in the manual. There's a gentleman named Reese. Reese, according to the manual, is thought to be dead. Vice Officer Quinn Hart, along with his partner Detective Reese, set out on an assignment to locate the manufacturer of the mysterious gel, which is the drug, the stuff that was mentioned earlier. During the investigation, Reese disappears. Since his body's never been found, he's believed dead. However, it ends up he was kidnapped. He found the source of the green slime, and then they turned him into a robot. Presumably, he's actually the boss we just fought. We just blew the helmet off when we found the real Reese. And a man with my face ended up actually doing something. Then suddenly the word blam appeared, and Reese yelled, "Argh!" This is a weird censorship thing. I kind of understand why. First off, in this version of the game, it was the guy at the beginning of the game who said he was your guardian angel that kills him. That's the last time you ever see that character. It's never mentioned again who they are. But you actually see in the Japanese version a bullet literally go in Reese's head. Or rather, their name is Reese because it's a slightly different translation. However, we find out they've got the girl. And really, we're gonna take a break and figure out who the girl is. Because they never really specified which one, and we know there are two girls and we've seen both of them. What does this have to do with anything? Also, that is also never touched on in either version. It's just a chip. Let's just assume it's the solution that we never deal with. I know I'm kind of hating on this game a lot. I'm ragging on the story a bit. It is a good game, but man, that writing could do some work. I'm actually going to cut here, and we're going to do another part to finish up the game next time, because honestly, we're more than halfway done the game already. It's not a long game. These games usually aren't. It actually ends in stage 11, and we're already at stage 7. So, next time when we come back, we'll wrap up the rest of the game, and then we'll show some differences between the two versions. See you guys then.